outings for him in back-to-back games. As you move forward in this thing, he's going to be critical for this club.
And no question about that. Angie was just mentioning the wild card standings. So how about we take a look right now at our Delta Airlines keep climbing wild card standings. The Mariners a leapfrog over the Detroit Tigers with a win last night. So you can see right now just two teams in the East, the Blue Jays, the Red Sox. Things are getting very close right now.
Well, it's what you were hoping for if you're a Mariners fan. And again, these guys have to continue to take care of their business. When you look at the East, that's where the wild card looks like it's going to come out of. They're starting to play each other in the month of September, so they're going to beat up on each other. But you still have to win these games.
Mike, I don't think there's any coincidence. The Mariners have been very, very good in one-run games since the All-Star break. And, of course, the bullpen has been fantastic for the Mariners as of late. In August, a bullpen ERA of 1.25 and opponents batting beneath 200.
It's been a big key. I think if you look at the Mariners in the first 2 months of the season, that was a big part of why they were winning the way that they were. When they started to struggle, that's when the bullpen guys started to get hurt. Some other guys weren't pitching as well. And then the emergence of Diaz, and then working his way into where now he's the closer role. Tom Wilhelmsen has an ERA of 1.6. And, of course, Caminero from Pittsburgh. So when they have a lead, they can lock it down.
And both Wilhelmsen and Diaz critical in last night's win here in Game 1. Why don't we take a look at tonight's starting pitching, our Lexus pitching matchup. And Ariel Miranda has thrown 1 inning in the last 11 days. He makes his second start for the Mariners.
Yeah, let's hope that he has fastball command. He has a good fastball. He'll be in the low 90s with his fastball. Also, you'll see a split from him, an occasional slider and changeup. When he gets 2 strikes on the hitter, he really likes his split a lot. But against this lineup, against the Angels, a club that has struggled, you know about the right-handed hitters in the middle of the lineup. He has to locate his fastball.
And how about the other side? Yolis Chassin, who began the year with the Atlanta Braves, was traded over to the Angels, made his Angels debut against the Mariners, and he pitched very well.
And he did, and he's been in and out of the bullpen for the Angels. For him, you're going to see an average fastball in the low 90s. He wants to get to his slider. The Mariners have seen him a little bit, but I think this is a guy, too, that you're going to see a big part of the bullpen for the Angels, a bullpen that has really struggled this year. So I think for him, get his pitch count up and get after the bullpen of the Angels.
Mariners winning last night in Game 1, looking for a win behind Ariel Miranda here in Game 2. Another gorgeous day. What else would you expect here from Orange County? We got the first pitch from the Big A coming up next. Now some Mariners fans making their way inside Angel Stadium as we are moments away from first pitch. It's game 2 of this 4-game series. The Mariners and the Angels of Anaheim as the Mariners roll into this one, riding a 3-game winning streak. They've won 9 of their last 10, 11 of their last 13. The hottest team right now in the American League. Up on the mound for the Angels, it's the right-hander, a veteran, Yolis Chacin, 28 years old, out of Venezuela, making his second start against the Mariners this season. And Mike, we take a look now at the Mariners starting lineup.
And congratulations to Nelson Cruz, the cleanup hitter for the Mariners. Hit his 30th home run on the year last night's game. Adam Lynn, he will hit 6, 2 for 4 last night with an RBI. And Mike Zunino continues to swing the bat well. Last night's game, 2 for 4 and an RBI for Zunino.
Norioki leading things off, looking at strike 1. 4-game hitting streak for Nori. 6 for his last 19. The Mariners win last night, another 1-run win for the Mariners, 3-2. This has been a theme this year for the Mariners, no question about it. The only team with more 1-run games this year, the White Sox, and that is by 1. The Mariners have been right there among the most in baseball. Another base hit for Aoki, a 5-game streak now. Nice way to begin things here tonight.
And we'll take a look at Chacin and what he has done on the year. A 3-8 record, high ERA, 5.84 ERA for him, 78 strikeouts over 41 walks. Opponents hitting 283s, giving up 12 home runs this year. So he can get a little bit wild at times. Fastball at 90, pretty good slider. And a look at the defense. Cole Calhoun in right field robbed Kyle Seager of a 2-run home run. It went over the wall in last night's game. Gregory Petit will get the start at second base. Pennington was in there yesterday. Pennington over at shortstop today. And Jeff Bandy will do the catching.
That brings in Seth Smith. Leadoff man aboard for the Mariners. Smith DHing once again. Looks like he's still trying to recover from a little bit of a busted up foot. Chacin came over to the Angels this year in May from the Atlanta Braves and was immediately put in the rotation. And then Tim Lincecum was ready to go and joined this Angels rotation. But Lincecum, as we know, as we saw him on the last homestand, designated for assignment by the Angels, is now with their AAA affiliate in Salt Lake City. So Chacin, who was in the bullpen, moved back into the rotation and really struggled his last time out. This is just his 3rd start this year for the Angels. Calhoun in right field as usual, but it'll be Mike Trout. One out for Robinson Cano.
Second baseman, number 22, Robinson Cano.
Now the Rangers winning last night as well, in part because of an Adrian Beltre grand slam. So nothing has changed in the American League West standings, as long as, or so far as it concerns the Mariners. Still 5.5 games outside of Texas. One out, 1 on for Robbie. Trout having to move quickly over towards the gap. And he's able to get there in time to keep his feet. Both outs the way of Mike Trout.
For Cano, he gets a breaking ball, able to keep his hands back. I'm not sure that he was able to get all of it, probably towards the end of the bat. If he had squared it up, it would have been off the wall, if not over the wall. Plenty of time for Trout to get over there and make the catch.
Two outs, Aoki at first base after the leadoff single. That brings in Nelson Cruz. Cruz having a nice road trip, 5 for 15, including a pair of home runs. And And the home run last night, Mike, nearly hit the moon.
Take a look at his 30th home run of the year. It's a big breaking ball, a curveball, and a towering home run. 6.2 seconds on the hang time on that home run for Nelson Cruz.
So for Nelly, 3 straight seasons of 30-plus home runs. No Mariner hitter has ever hit more home runs in his first 2 seasons in a Mariners uniform than Nelson Cruz. 2 balls and a strike.
For Chacín, you mentioned his last outing against Cleveland. He had to throw 56 pitches to get through an inning and a third. So his command hasn't been real good. And again, this will be his second start coming out of the bullpen.
That was against a tough Cleveland team, but 3 walks, 7 runs his last start. Now we were just mentioning the last 3 years for Nelson Cruz and the home run total. You can see he led all of baseball back in 2014. 1 year with the Orioles, and then last year, of course, 44 for the Mariners, and now 30 this year. 30 and counting. Oki held by Marte at first base.
So far, Chacín throwing in nothing but sliders, trying to keep the ball away from him.
A long pause and the 2-2. That'll do it for the Mariners in the top of the first. Chacín, after a leadoff single, retires Smith, Cano, and Cruz. We go to the bottom of the first. Ariel Miranda about to take them out for the Mariners. Ariel Miranda, 27 years old, out of Cuba, making just his 2nd career Major League start, only his 3rd Major League appearance. Will tilt the slab here tonight for Scott Service and the Mariners, and will face this Angels lineup.
Yunel Escobar going to lead things off. He is 5th in the American League and hitting with a .311 batting average. Mike Trout, a home run in last night's ball game, his 23rd home run on the year. Albert Pujols, he has been hot lately, 89 RBIs. That is 4th in all of baseball. And Nick Buss, the number 9 hitter, 2 for 4 last night with a couple of doubles and an RBI. And a look at Miranda. It's been a little while since he's had a start. A 1-0 record, ERA right at 6. So far, just 9 innings for him. Has 10 strikeouts, 1 walk. That'll be a big key in this one. Stay away from the walks with the Angels. Good fastball at 93 miles an hour. Has a slider, a split, and a changeup.
The 0-1 to Escobar. Miranda, of course, making his Major League debut at Camden Yards, or pardon me, with the Orioles against the Mariners, and then part of the Wade Miley deal. making a start in one relief appearance for the Mariners.
For Miranda, he likes his split. Typically, he'll throw it with 2 strikes on the batter.
But we saw it in his one and only start so far this year, Mike. A fastball that it seems like can really get on you and have some nice late life to it as well, maybe.
His average fastball is 93. That last one, 94 on the inside corner. At times, he will touch 95. But it has some late life to it. And I think he'll do a pretty good job of mixing things up, which obviously will add to his fastball. But the biggest key is he has to be able to work ahead.
Ball's behind here, the 3-2. And a leadoff walk.
And a look at the defense for the Mariners. Nelson Cruz going to get the start in right field. That's 3 days in a row for Nelson Cruz. Robinson Cano at second base, just 2 errors on the year, having a fantastic year all the way around for Cano. Adam Lynn will be the first baseman. Mike Zunino doing the catching tonight.
Leadoff man aboard for Cole Calhoun. Slashing the first pitch the opposite way. Escobar rounding second, making his way to third. He'll get held there. Calhoun right away, a double. And the Angels threatening runners at second and third.
This is on a fastball right on the outside corner. Not a bad pitch. Pretty good hitting by Calhoun to go the other way. Now the trouble begins as Mike Trout starts to walk to the plate.
Well, he has certainly had a knack for 3-run first inning homers against the Mariners this year. 2 aboard, nobody out for Trout. Trout last night, a stolen base. Now a 2020 season for Trout with plenty of time left. 23 home runs, 20 steals, and of course a home run out to dead center that was blasted last night. Angels entering this game tonight losing 11 in a row. First time they've lost 11 straight in 17 years. Out to center. And Martin has an easy beat. Escobar ready to go at third. He comes down and will score. Calhoun a headlong slide. He's safe. Long sacrifice fly by Mike Trout. And with the first out at the bottom of the first in the books, it's now 1-0 Angels.
For Trout, his 77th RBI on the year. That looks like a changeup. Just off the plate. Martin, a strong throwing arm, trying to get Calhoun from moving up to third. Fortunately, Kyle was able to get on it right away, hit the screen in front of the dugout, and Calhoun had to stay at third base.
Runner at third base, 1 out for Albert Pujols, hitting barely 150 in the month of August, but he has been one of the best RBI men in baseball. He has 89 RBIs entering tonight. So he looks at ball 1. Well, offense has certainly been a problem for Mike Scioscia's club as of late. They're averaging just barely 3 runs a game their last 7 times out. This has not been a good offense this month after the Angels led baseball in runs scored in the month of July.
Of course, the Angels scoring just 2 runs in last night's ball game. One of them a solo home run from Trout. You look at this game today with Miranda, not sure what you're going to get from the young left-hander. And you look at tomorrow, it looks like the bullpen will get a lot of work tomorrow. So it was important for Felix to get deep in the game yesterday. So along with the Mariners winning another close game, a 1-run game, Felix getting a couple of outs in the 7th inning and having Wilhelmsen and Diaz finish it up has really helped them for these next 2 games as far as the bullpen is concerned.
Well, it was Wilhelmsen wearing the swelmet after all after the game.
Had to get 4 outs yesterday.
Yeah.
He has really been something for the Mariners, and Scott Service right now has some pretty good options to go to out in the pen, Tom being one of them. We show the season stats, and you look at Tom's, and you don't think too much of it, but when you consider what he's done with the Mariners, a 1.6 ERA with the Mariners, he has really pitched well.
Miranda's 1-2. Evens things up. I think about Tom too, and one of his greatest strengths, and we've seen it many times this year, inheriting runners and leaving them on the base paths. He has stranded 15 of 16. One out, Calhoun at third. And a soft pop-up right there to Cano. 2 outs. Now we'll take a look at our Delta Airlines wild card standings as the Red Sox and Orioles now tied up at the top. The Mariners are now holding the edge over the Tigers. And when you start to look at how those 3 teams in the American League East, the Orioles, the Blue Jays, the Red Sox, what their schedule looks like in the immediate future and what it looks like over the last 2-3 weeks of the season, they are going to face each other a ton. They're going to beat the heck out of each other, Mike.
Well, I think at this point that is the hope, as this is right off the end of the bat, handled by Lynn. That is the hope, but continue to win your own games. Mariners need to worry about themselves.
Miranda gets out of the first, allows a run to go to the second. Brought to you by Safeco Insurance. Find a local agent at safeco.com. By your local Ford stores. And by the Emerald Queen Casino, presenting The Last Man Standing comedian Tim Allen, October 15th. Tickets at emeraldqueen.com. Good look at downtown Los Angeles as we make our way to the top of the second inning. Angels have got it on the board first. So Mike Trout sacrificed flyout to center field after a leadoff walk to Yanel Escobar. Now, there is not nearly enough traffic right now in downtown Los Angeles. At least that's what this is showing us. This cannot be accurate. Kyle Seager will lead off the second inning. He'll be followed by Lynn Danzanino. Now, Seager has been one of the best left-handed hitters against right-handed pitching this year. The 8th highest OPS in that category. 2 spots ahead of Cano. And a couple of more spots in front of his younger brother. Chacin to the bag to finish the out. 1 down. Return of the Jedi on a screen the size of the Death Star. Be a part of history this Saturday as we showcase the film on Mariner Vision. One of the largest screens a Star Wars movie has ever been played on. It's all part of Star Wars Weekend at Safeco Field. For details, all you have to do is visit mariners.com/Jedi. 2 pitches, 1 out. It brings in Adam Lind. Some Mariners fans dotting Angel Stadium here tonight. Mike, we were remarking about this before the game started, but you can tell Angels right now 20 games under 500. We are used to this place being pretty packed.
And it's not. They have really struggled. And especially recently, they've lost 11 in a row. Coming off of a really bad road trip where they'd lost 9 games. I don't think the fans are inspired at this point, Aaron.
Yeah. They've also had some brutal temperatures here recently, although not too bad tonight. Pretty pleasant, actually, as
Wow.
Lind smokes this inside of the dugout, or off the screen, it looks like, as that quickly bounces back onto the field.
Martin had to get up off the ground.
That almost messed up Martin's hair. Marte back a couple of steps. And just like Seager, Lind retired. 3-1. Brings in Zunino. Now, for whatever reason, Zunino has liked hitting here inside Angel Stadium. His last 14 games here, hitting just about 300. And we saw a trend continue last night for Mike, a multi-hit game in this ballpark. 7 multi-hit games in his last 14 that he's got at the start here inside Angel Stadium.
He also picked up an RBI last night. Did a really good job behind the plate again. Pretty good idea when you're a catcher and you're coming to the ballpark and you have Felix for the day that you're going to get a lot of work, especially in the dirt. And we thought that one of the big keys for Felix in last night's game was for him to get his changeup in the dirt. He was able to do that most of the night, and Mike did a great job of just keeping everything in front of him.
2-1 to Zunino. 2 outs, nobody on. Felix's post-game comments was talking about his changeup last night. First couple of innings, kind of struggled to find it, and then it clicked. It became pretty dominant, like we're so used to seeing.
Again, I give him a lot of credit, knowing what was in front of him and him being able to, when he was done with the 6th inning, he had 96 pitches. So we thought that it was a good job. That's right over the bag. Thought there was going to be a pretty good chance that he was going to be done and an easy double for Zunino. But he came back out in the 7th inning trying to get 3 more outs. He was able to get 2 of them. We'll take a look at Mike Zunino. You were just mentioning how much he likes to hit here, Aaron, but that's a fastball out over the plate, and he hits it hard down the line.
No chance for Escobar. A 2-out, 2-base hit for Zunino. That brings in Martin. Zunino is at the stage of the season where his at-bats have still been limited enough where 2 hits last night lifted his average 17 points. So 1 for 1 tonight. That'll help even more. 2 outs. He's at second base for Martin. On the ground and through the left side. Zunino held as Buss was able to field that in somewhat shallow left field.
And we'll take a look at it. Martin going the other way. It's a fastball. It's elevated. Maniac holding up Zunino immediately.
We've seen Martin at times this year be pull happy, especially we know that he's hit more home runs than any other time in his career, 13 home runs, and you know the importance of him putting the ball on the ground. And nice to see him go the opposite way.
It is good to see him. I mean, if he tries to pull that pitch, it's going to be a ground ball to the second baseman. And you're right. I think that the best that we've seen of him was probably the 2 weeks before he went on the disabled list. And he was really swinging the bat well when they would make mistakes in the middle of the plate, driving it. But if they pitched him away, he would hit the ball the other way.
Mariners having a fantastic month of August as we have a jewelry delay at first base. The change slowing him down. Tying run is at third as now time is called. But you're right though about Martin, Mike. That was part of what made that injury so devastating, because we had seen him in the last 2 weeks leading up to that become truly one of the best center fielders in the American League, not only defensively of course, but what he was doing at the plate
and on the bases. He was stealing bases and he was scoring on base hits. If you hit a double and he was at first, he was scoring on that. The hamstring injury is the thing that really set him back. I feel watching him that he's back to healthy now. I think even when he came off the disabled list, he was very careful with that hamstring, and he was really smart about it, which is what you want to do. But now he looks, when he's running out of the batter's box or if he tries to steal a base, he looks as if he's at full strength.
And we saw a steal in Oakland. That was a good sign. Bunting up the third base line, and Zunino scores. This stays fair. What a beauty.
Smart play, aware of what the defense is doing. Escobar, the third baseman, was not all the way back, but he certainly wasn't even with the bag. You can see he charges right away, but it's a perfect bunt. Chacin let it go, hoping it would go foul. With Marte's speed, no chance to get him, and a base hit it, an RBI. More importantly, the Mariners tie up the ball game with 2 outs.
Aoki is single to begin the ball game tonight at the plate for the second time. He looks at ball one. Now some good speed on the bases for the Mariners. Martin at second, Marte at first. 3 consecutive hits with 2 outs. And now a throw back to second. Pennington getting the start tonight at shortstop. We saw him last night at second base.
Simmons was a late scratch. Originally was in the lineup, but then scratched and put Pennington in.
So is Giovanni Soto, scheduled to be the starting catcher. We just heard just a few moments ago that Soto was scratched because of a knee issue. Chacin got the first 2 outs really pretty quickly here in the second inning, both on the ground, both to first base. But it's been a different story since. The Mariners a chance to take the lead, the go-ahead run in scoring position. And now 1-2.
We talked about Chacin struggling in his last outing, thinking just an inning and a third, but he's throwing a lot of strikes. 30 pitches, 21 strikes for him so far. Looks like he has a pretty good feel for his breaking ball. He's used his curveball and his slider so far.
Chacin a number of years in the National League, broke in with the Rockies, spent 6 years there in Denver. Two on, 2 outs. And this gets Aoki right on the ankle, it looked like.
The ankle or the knee, but it hit him pretty square. And we'll take a look at it. It's a fastball right off the side of the knee. Good news, he was able to get up right away. Rick Griffin, the trainer, having a look at him as you take another look at this fastball. 4-seam fastball, 92 miles an hour. It's like Casey Candell having some fun with him. Charles Nagy, the pitching coach, is out at the mound.
Well, that has loaded the bases now for Seth Smith. Far and away. 9 more than Tampa Bay. It kind of seems like Aoki and Zunino have worn the majority of those. Now the 9th for Aoki. Zunino hasn't been up all that long, but
yeah, that number would be well into the 60s if Mike had been here all year, because he is not going to budge once he gets into that batter's box.
Bases loaded, 2 outs. And Smith looks at strike 1.
Went through a stretch of about a week there where it seemed that Cano was wearing it regularly as well.
And Cruz for a little bit too. Martin at third, Marte is at second base, and Aoki now at first.
Good numbers for Seth in his career with the bases loaded, a .349 average.
I think we were all surprised earlier this season at home when Smith hit his first career grand slam.
That is amazing.
Been around for a while, a guy who certainly has
very
some pop.
good career, yeah. No, I agree. I was surprised to see that too, so he's probably happy to get that taken care of.
He made it sound like he was well aware that he did not have one entering this year. The 1-1. And it was Martin who singled to get aboard, and then the RBI bunt base hit by Marte, now at second base. Aoki just hit in the knee with 2 strikes against him. Two and two.
Well, after some off-speed pitches, he decides to challenge him. One of his better fastballs at 93 miles an hour. A little late movement to it.
Now the Mariners a chance to really open things up here in the second. The 2-2. Up the middle for a base hit. Martin scores. Marte comes steaming around. Here's the throw from Trout. It's up in front of the plate. Throw to third. Safe. Aoki first to third. And now Smith dancing around. He'll get back to the bag at first base. A 3-run second inning for the Mariners as Smith drives in a couple.
Just a clutch base hit. Again, when you have Miranda on the mound, not sure what you're going to get. This is a situation you'd really like to take advantage of, and there is Seth right back up the middle, raising that career batting average of .349 over .350 now with the bases loaded, as he'll drive in a couple of runs. Close play. Looks like it's a very good call, and his foot stays on the base. Aoki read the throw. Trout came up to throw, and when he saw that the ball was going to be over the cutoff man's head, he had stopped probably about, I don't know, 5-6 feet past second base. He took off for third.
Runners on the corners, 2 outs, and 3 runs in. Here is Cano. Looking at strike 1.
That is a big-time base hit from Seth. You have Miranda going. See how he goes, but if nothing else, that gives him a little bit of room to work. You may not have to go to your bullpen as early, especially with the situation that they're going to be in tomorrow. It's a big 2-out hit.
And now you bring in Cano with Cruz on deck. Cano, the 8th batter of the second inning, an inning that looked like it would not last very long. Seager and Lynn both grounded out quickly. Out to right field, Calhoun adjusting, skipping and making the catch. Cano out to right field, but 3 runs in, highlighted by the Seth Smith 2-run single. Ariel Miranda, a little breathing room. Okay, thank you, Angie. As the Mariners take a 3-1 lead at the bottom of the second inning, it's Jet Bandy to lead things off. Elke dancing back to make the catch. We'll take a look at our CenturyLink What's Next, as we found out today that Cody Martin just recalled today with James Paxton going on the disabled list. It'll be Martin tomorrow to get the start, going up against really talented lefty and Tyler Skaggs. So we'll see what Martin can give the Mariners. As you're mentioning, the bullpen today, Mike, hopefully Miranda can at least give enough innings that we've seen Cody Martin pitch. Certainly he picked up the win in that incredible come from behind win in San Diego. He's been up and down a couple of times, but still you don't quite know exactly what's going to happen tomorrow for sure.
No. Cody's more than capable, but when you have Miranda and then you have Cody going, and we'll see what his pitch count is, see what Scott Service says about that tomorrow. But for Miranda, even though he gave up the 1 run in the first, the good news is he only threw 15 pitches in the first. And I think that if he can command his fastball tonight, if he can get through 6 innings, Scott Service would love to see that happen.
And with Cody getting the nod tomorrow, this means that Joe Wheeland is in the bullpen and available both tonight and tomorrow night as a long man in case.
You can solve a lot of those problems. Just keep scoring runs.
The 2-2. Cuts right through it. First strikeout here tonight for Miranda. 2 outs. Look, give your family and friends a unique experience and throw a picnic in the ballpark. Choose from several great locations at Safeco Field to host your next group event. You can visit mariners.com/groups to find out how. 2 pretty quick outs for Ariel Miranda in the bottom of the second. Now looking at Gregorio Petit. Starts him off with a strike.
Mentioned Paxton going on the disabled list. I had a conversation with Rick Griffin today about that, and Rick said it's actually not his elbow is the problem. It's the inflammation that he had in his elbow. They were able to get that out of there, but unfortunately some of it has gone into his forearm a little bit tight. Not willing to take a chance on another fine catch by Cano. So hopefully he'll be back in about a week.
Yeah, it sounded like mid to late next week. A quick 1-2-3 bottom of the second. Remember, drunk drugs, or high, it's a DUI. Help us all reach Target Zero. Learn more at targetzero.org. A very quick bottom of the second. We go to the top of the third. The Mariners now leading 3-1. They sent 8 to the plate in the second inning. All the hits, all the runs coming with 2 outs. Here's Nelson Cruz to begin the third. And he looks at strike one. Nelly struck out to end the first inning.
He had his first at bat, a steady diet of sliders away from him. There's another breaking ball.
Something I'm eager to talk to Nelson about. We heard from Scott Service today. He was talking about Cruz and the accomplishment of 3 straight 30-homer seasons, and of course 40 and 44 the last 2 years. And Scott was talking about how there is no one on this team who watches more film than Nelson Cruz. And this idea of, as he has gotten older in his career, his numbers have continued to increase, and this idea of not only does he still have, of course, immense power, but the savvy that comes around simply from a guy who's been around and knows how to get better.
Well, I think that what he's doing by watching all of that film is just creating the advantage to himself. If he can see a pattern, or he can read the numbers and there's something that sticks out for him and he knows what he's going to get, he can do some serious damage. And that was a pretty good pitch for him to hit and missed it. Some people, you watch some of his at-bats, and some people would look at it and go, man, he was guessing on that pitch. Well, it's not necessarily guessing if you are sitting on a certain pitch and you just don't get it. And the reason why you're sitting on that pitch is because typically you're probably going to get it in that situation. But those guys out on the mound will make adjustments too if they see that. But I think that it's just smart hitting, especially in today's game when you see so many guys and the velocities at which they throw pitches at. You can't. When guys are up there throwing and they're 95 or better, you're not going to be able to just sit up there, look fastball, and adjust to everything else. Sometimes that breaking ball that they throw up there is going to be the best pitch that you have to hit. And if you see a pattern of a pitcher and when he throws it, when he wants to throw it, you can take advantage of that. And I think Nelson, that's all he's trying to do watching all that film.
It's paid off. Cruz leading off the third, 2-2. Leadoff walk to Cruz. Mike, hearing you talk about that with Nelson, it reminds me of you talking about Edgar and patterns, and how didn't Edgar strike out one time, but he told you that the pitcher did the wrong thing?
Yeah, I was amazed by it with Edgar. He ended up taking a fastball. It was a pretty good fastball. I can't remember who the pitcher was, but let's call it 94, 95 miles an hour, but it was down the middle of the plate. And I was talking to Edgar about it and asked him what happened, and I knew that, and it's been well documented, that Edgar at times would have issues with his eyesight, and that's why he did all the eye exercises and all those things. I thought maybe that was the reason why, and he said no, in that count, in that situation, he was supposed to throw me the breaking ball. He messed up. So he was sitting on that breaking ball, and he just didn't get it.
But he knew that guy that well.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a big part of the game at this level. I'll give you a better example of Edgar. Now that's no surprise that he's a hitting coach. In '93, Edgar ended up getting hurt. It was at the end of spring training, and at that time I was kind of the swing utility guy on the team, and I had an opportunity to play every day for a period of time while he was on the disabled list. And I was just getting to know the pitchers in the league and what was going on, and I would go to him all the time. What does he have? What is he going to do? And Edgar would always tell me, he has this. He likes to pitch me this way. And I would say, okay, is he going to pitch me that way? No, he's not going to pitch you that way. This is what he's going to do to you. So he would give me a pretty good game plan going into it. And I would say that it was a big advantage on my part. I ended up having my best year and ended up staying with the big club all year and never looked back after that. And I learned a lot from him because of that thought process of doing those things, or making an out in an at-bat and understanding how he got me out, and that the next time he's going to try to do that again, so I have to make an adjustment. That's all part of the game at this level. These guys are constantly doing that.
Quickly skipping to Petit. Pennington's throw to first base and a double play wipes away leadoff walk. A little bit of a different field here tonight as they are celebrating the Anaheim Ducks. They have the logo on the mound, and they wore very special batting practice uniforms. The Angels did celebrate the local hockey team.
I saw that the Duck was even taking batting practice.
Oh, really? How'd that go?
Well, it didn't go particularly well. There were a number of kids that got to hit first. And when I say kids, I mean anywhere from the neighborhood of 7 to 11 years old that were on the field. And so the Duck decided that it was going to stand in there and take some batting practice. And the kid that I saw that was going to throw the batting practice looked like he was about 9 years old and hit him with the first pitch. Now, fortunately, the Duck had a lot of padding, so I think he was fine.
And feathers went everywhere, I hear. 1-1 to Lynn with 2 outs and nobody on. Lynn falls behind 1-2. Mariners trying to win their 4th in a row tonight. They've won 9 of their last 10. They've won 11 of their last 13. The 1-2. Not missing by much. Now, Chacin really had to labor in the second. He faced 8 batters. And he gave up 3 runs with 2 outs. A leadoff walk here in the 3rd, but a double play ball helped to clean it up. Played high the opposite way, but Buss in front of the warning track to end the inning. To the side, sat down in order despite a leadoff walk to Cruz, and we go to the bottom of the 3rd. Baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Shag, where your friends live. And the new face of Strong, the 2016 Chevy Silverado. Well, some Mariners fans making the trip here to Orange County. That was JJ and Stacy. We're here inside Angel Stadium. You never know if you're going to make the rejoin. We might even ask for your ID. We want to be able to identify you. So JJ, Stacy, thanks for coming out tonight. This is Nick Buss, the left fielder, leading things off. 9-1-2 due up for the Angels. Buss stings this down by the pole. A foul ball. Pretty impressive night for Buss last night, Mike.
He's off to a pretty good start. He has 10 at-bats, 4 hits so far, a couple of doubles in last night's game, even drove in a run. So yeah, he's off to a good start. You don't know sometimes when you look at these lineups, especially the Angels, we're not used to seeing this type of lineup where they have a bunch of guys that have been called up or guys that have traveled around for a while once you get past the first 4 in their lineup. But Buss getting a chance to play and trying to make the most of it.
The 2-2 is swung out and missed. Miranda struck out 2 of the last 3 hitters.
And I don't know if it was just first inning jitters for Miranda, but after the Mariners came back and scored 3 runs for him, he is throwing the ball free and easy, nice and loose. That looked like a split. 81 miles an hour. Doing what you want. 30 pitches, 19 strikes.
He sat down 7 in a row now. Escobar on the first pitch. Oakland comes back in for it, 2 outs. That brings in Cole Calhoun, a double on the first pitch back in the first inning. Miranda's only other start this year for the Mariners. That was in early August against the Red Sox. Only 80 pitches to go 6 innings. Limited Boston to 2 runs. Able to scatter 8 hits. Certainly not an easy lineup to navigate through. The 1-0. 94 at the knees to Calhoun, batting just under 270 entering tonight.
Now Miranda has a little better than average fastball tonight. Again, his average fastball this year is 93, but we've seen a lot of 94s from him. It feels pretty good.
Two outs, nobody on, and the 2-1. Up the middle for a base hit.
Calhoun, the left-handed hitter in the lineup, 1 of 2, has hit the ball hard twice. Double down the left field line, and now one right back at Miranda.
One of the only ways that Miranda can know what about 100 looks like, as that was ripped right back up the middle. That snaps 8 in a row, sat down by Ariel Miranda, now facing Trout with Calhoun at first. Trout, I'm sorry, Mike. No, go ahead.
Here in the early going, it's apparent that Brian O'Nora, the home plate umpire, he's not giving the low strike to either pitcher. Some pretty good pitches at the bottom of the strike zone that he's not calling a strike.
O'Nora, a long-time umpire now in his 20th season. Many postseasons for O'Nora, including the World Series back in 2012. Actually an umpire here at the All-Star game when it was held here at Angel Stadium in 2010. 3-0 to Trout. Pujols on deck. Trout a sacrifice fly back in the first inning, the only run so far for the Angels. Now Trout, the man who leads the league in walks, through 2 last night and draws his first here this evening. With 2 outs, 2 on, brings in Pujols.
Miranda was able to get him to pop the ball up his first time. Like a changeup that he was out in front of, a harmless little fly ball to Cano at second base.
Pujols is the go-ahead run. Tie and run. Trout is at first. Calhoun now in second. And that'll bring out Zunino. Miranda has fallen behind each of the last 3 hitters now. What a career. 581 homers. Good stop by Zunino, 2-0. Calhoun at second, Trout at first, and Miranda behind 2-0. Miranda a very quick second. He threw just 10 pitches. Was able to sat down the first 2 here in the third, but then a single, a walk, and now facing Pujols. It's 2-1. Clobbered by the pole. This is hooked by a lot. 2-2.
Well, he tried to get a fastball in on his hands, and it's probably on the inner half.
Very loud strike 2.
Let's see if he tries to get him with a split here.
Tying run is on base for the Angels. 2 outs. And the 2-2. Harmless pop-up. Robinson Cano waiting, and that ends the inning. Miranda strands runners at first and second, and the Mariners maintain a lead through 3. Two-run lead as we take a look at our Geico This Date in Big League history. We go back to 1993. How about this? The Hall of Famer Randy Johnson strikes out 4 in an inning and a third to pick up his first of 2 major league saves against the Orioles in the Kingdom. Can you imagine him coming out in the 9th inning, for example? How hard would he be throwing that?
I was there.
That would be, if you said to Randy Johnson, Randy, I need you to get 3 outs. Let it rip.
Yeah, I saw it. It was 100 all day with a slider probably around 93. Now, it was one of the neatest things to see him come when we were playing the Yankees in the playoffs, and Randy coming out of the dugout to go down to the bullpen to get loose. And the Kingdom just erupted when he walked out of the dugout. pretty awesome sight.
I can imagine. One ball and 1 strike to Zunino. A double and a run scored the last time up for Mike. Part of that 3-run, 4-hit second inning off of Chacin.
Was just reminded, by the way, before Randy came in to get that save, 2 days prior, he was here pitching and he threw 146 pitches. And then 2 days later, he's coming in to get the save. Things have changed a little bit in this game, Aaron.
Just a tad. And how uncommon was it for Randy to throw 120, 130, 130 plus?
120 all the time.
All the time.
130 most of the time. I mean, 146, it sounds outrageous in today's game, doesn't it? As Mike
It sounds like you're killing somebody.
Yeah, not Randy. Yeah, and a lot of that was for the simple fact that he just wanted to stay in the ball game. And he was capable of doing it.
Well, his season high that year was 157 pitches.
Yeah.
That could be almost 2 starts for a guy today's age. That's incredible.
Yeah, I'm telling you, 120 was every time. 130 happened a lot.
Martin bunts it right back to the pitcher, Chacin. All Mariners Jedi should head to Safeco Field starting this Friday for Star Wars weekend, featuring events that include fireworks, a post-game movie, and unique Taiwan Skywalker bobblehead. Fans are, of course, encouraged to dress in Star Wars attire all series long. You can find tickets and more details at mariners.com/Jedi.
Big part of that, too, with Randy, obviously, was his build, and he can handle it, but I don't think there was anybody that was more diligent than him in between starts as far as taking care of his body, getting his work in. Everything was regimented. He worked about as hard as anybody that I've ever seen as far as pitchers go.
0-2 to Ketel Marte. 2 outs, nobody on, top of the 4th. Called out on strikes. And Chacin, for the 2nd straight inning, retires his side in order. We're off to the bottom of the 4th inning. Baseball brought to you by T-Mobile. Let's take a look at the rehab assignments last night for a couple of bullpen arms for the Mariners. Good to see Tony Zick back up on the mound and inning scoreless. And Evan Scribner, who's been nothing more than just a name in Mariners lore this year. Scribner on his way back, as we saw him for just a brief moment of time in spring training.
Well, we're here 16th of August, so maybe a couple of guys when the rosters expand in September can help him out.
Jeffrey Marte looks at a strike. Well, it would add to what has already been right now just an absolutely electric bullpen. Now, depending on what the fate is tonight for Ariel Miranda, Mike, we'll go back at the end of this game and we'll be talking about that at-bat down for Pujols. 2 outs. Calhoun getting on base, Trout the walk, and now you're facing one of the best RBI guys in baseball. And after Pujols smoked it foul deep down left field, was able to get him to pop up softly.
Twice with runners in scoring position, and Albert with 89 RBIs. That's 4th in all of baseball.
That was a big out to get to end the 3rd. Off the end of the bat, out to center. Martin not having to move much, 1 down. Before that single to Calhoun in the 3rd inning, Miranda had sat down 8 in a row. 1 up, 1 down here in the bottom of the 4th, now facing Jet Bandy, the catcher. Given a strike on the first pitch, 1 out, nobody on. A mile high, but very foul. And it's quickly 0-2 on Bandy.
Well, he was clearly cheating on that fastball. 93 miles an hour. The Mariners have the shift on with Bandy hitting, so they're expecting him to pull the ball. Martin shading a little bit towards left center, almost straight up.
Just got a piece to stay alive. We are down to 44 games after this one tonight. Mariners in the middle game of this 4-game series and coming home. 3 over the weekend, Star Wars weekend against the Brewers. Then the Yankees, who've won 5 of their last 6, will be in town after that. Easy play for Aoki, and a very routine out number 2. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Seattle Mariners and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Seattle Mariners. And for the Mariners, it'll be back out on the road. Play the White Sox in Chicago and then the Texas Rangers. That'll be a good series. Ball 1 to Pennington with 2 outs.
Rangers hosting the A's. They are in extra innings now, tied up at 2-2.
Lind angling off to his right, leads the receiver to first base, and that will end the inning. So the side sat down in order. We're through 4 here at Anaheim. Now the Mariners lead it by 2. Okay, thank you, Angie. Okie leads off the top of the 5th. Top 3 due up for the Mariners. They lead it 3-1. All 3 runs coming in the 2nd inning with 2 outs.
And Okie has been on base a couple of times, a base hit, and he was hit on the knee. It appears that he's fine. Pretty good fastball at 92 miles an hour. Hit him in the right knee.
Busted left field is there for out number 1. Well, our Columbia Bank difference of the game so far, and it involves Albert Pujols. Twice Mikey has come up with runners in scoring position, and twice this has happened.
A couple of well-located splits by Miranda. That's kind of his go-to pitch, and really worked out. That one he left up a little bit, was able to get away with it.
Meanwhile, as the Mariners lead here tonight in the 5th inning, some good news from Globe Life Park in Arlington. Yonder Alonso with a run-scoring double in extra innings. The A's right now leading against the Rangers. Texas a 5.5-game lead over the Mariners in the West. Marte charging quickly. 2 outs. That brings in Cano. I'll be sure to stick around after this one's over for Mariners postgame presented by Delta Airlines. Angie and Bill back at the Ford Sports Desk. Brad down to the clubhouse. Have a chance to hear from the skipper, Scott Service. And the skipper has been very busy the last few days, Mike, with roster moves and rotation up in the air. He's had a lot to juggle recently.
A lot going on, but fortunately for him, he's probably sleeping pretty well because the Mariners are winning a lot of games. They've won 9 out of their last 10. And he's done an excellent job. He's trying to manage the bullpen, his rotation right now, especially with everything going on with Paxton. Not sure if he was going to be able to make his start or not. Now that he's been put on the disabled list, you can just kind of move forward from there. But I think also, you mentioned it, Aaron, after today, just 44 games, these are all critical games. He does feel pretty good about the back end of his bullpen. What a huge difference that those guys kind of falling in place has made. It was a real strength for this club over the first 2 months of the season. They won a bunch of games because of it, and they're right back now in dominant fashion.
Two outs, nobody on, a ball and a strike to Cano, looking for his first hit. I'll be curious once this season's over with if there will be a greater surprise impact player, at least in the American League, than Edwin Diaz. Nobody saw this coming.
No, how could you?
Absolutely. And the impact that he has made, you mentioned the back of the bullpen. This is a season similar to last year that has been flooded by young talent all around the game. A lot of that young talent. Talk about Corey Seager from time to time, certainly expected. He's even in the MVP conversation, but for somebody who was a complete unknown, at least at the major league level entering this year, to come in and do what he has done and impact a major league team down the stretch in the hunt, it's a pretty short list.
It'll be difficult, I think, for anybody, but to continue at the rate at which he is going. But if he's able to do that over the next month, I think at the end of the year, especially if this club is able to work their way into the postseason, you start talking about team MVPs, I think you have to put his name in the conversation, and that's with Iwakuma with 14 wins, Cano having the year that he's had, Cruz doing it again, Kyle Seager, a lot of guys, but you have to put Diaz in there. I think that he's also, which is rare to see, but I think he's put some energy and some confidence in this ball club with the emergence of him.
Now there's no doubt.
And give Scott Service, Mel Stottlemyre, Mike Hampton a lot of credit for the way that they've handled the young man, the time that they first were able to get him and bring him along slowly to where he's in there in the closer role now. And because I think that's a big reason why he's able to have a lot of the success along with that great arm.
Time call. Two outs, bases empty, and a full count to Cano. Now it really gets up and away. A 2-out walk. Second walk. Give this one for Chacin. Our CenturyLink What's Next? Game 3 of this 4-game series. Cody Martin just called up today, taking the spot of James Paxton, who has been placed on the disabled list. Will get the start against Really a good lefty in Tyler Skaggs. Skaggs coming back from Tommy John. We've seen him already this year. There's Cody. A former Zag. 2 outs, Cano at first base. It brings in Nelson Cruz, who walked his last time up. Will this come back in? Nope, it'll stay foul. Mike, every once in a while, when you talk about the confidence that Diaz has given to the Mariners, and just this sigh, or this sense rather of, well, almost this rock solid feeling when you take the lead of the 9th inning and Diaz is on the mound, kind of reminds us every once in a while there is that narrative that you don't need to have a closer. And when you see what he has done, and as you mentioned, the confidence it has given this bullpen, this pitching staff, this team, a city, it kind of shoots that out of the sky pretty quickly.
I think that it has to. And I think look at the parts leading up to it. We were talking about Tom Wilhelmsen earlier, Caminero on what he has done. It's great to have Nick Vincent back. It's getting to be a pretty deep bullpen. Storen has pitched well. That makes all the difference in the world. I've said it many times, and we've seen it in Seattle. When you have a lead, Aaron, in this game, and especially in today's game, and especially with the Mariners, you play so many close games, but when you have a lead, especially after the 7th inning, and you give those games back, it's devastating. It's difficult. And now all of a sudden when you feel like, well, let's just get the ball to the 6th inning, and we're going to win this game with a lead, that's a huge confidence booster. Great hit.
Into right field, a base hit. Cano has to hold up at second base. Cruz reaching for the 2nd time.
Talk about Nelson and his power all the time for good reason, but this is just good hitting. A slider right off the outside corner and down. And Nelson makes his adjustment. That's the way Chacin has pitched him in this game, and a solid line drive base hit into right field.
Brings out Charles Nagy. 2 outs and 2 on. It brings in Seager. Along the lines of what you're saying, Mike, about the bullpen, there's really no coincidence that the last time the Mariners were in the hunt until the final day of the season, when they had one of the very best bullpens in the game.
Yeah, they had the best bullpen in the American League for sure, and that's the big reason why. And it wasn't just having that one closer to lock it up. It's being able to get to the closer and everybody doing their part, and you really have that feeling about this club right now.
Jose Valdez, a right-hander, warming up.
And that being said, it's so difficult. You start in different areas, and over the course of the summer, you're probably going to have to make some adjustments and changes in your bullpen because you never know what you're going to get from one year to the next. And the Mariners found that out too. Really relying on that bullpen the very next year, and they struggled.
Yeah.
Same guys. Just don't know.
Seager a chance to do some damage here with 2 outs and 2 on.
House hit the ball hard a couple of times, but they were ground balls or outs on a double play.
Now, can we call this a shift, Mike? Pennington, he's moved over to our left a little bit, but he's not swung all the way on top of second base.
No, but it's a good point because this is something that has changed over the course of the summer with Kyle. They would normally be in the shift and stay in the shift, but now with a runner in scoring position, they're still shading him that way, but not as drastically because Kyle has shown that he'll hit the ball that way, and especially now that they're pitching him away.
Cano at second base, Cruz at first. A walk and a single. 2 outs, 2 on. And the 2-1 to Seager. Awfully good pitch to make it 2-2. Now the Mariners have their leading RBI man at the plate here with a runner in scoring position. And a chance to extend this 2-run lead. Here comes the 2-2. And a full count. Chacin had sat down 7 in a row before that walk to Cano, and then the single by Cruz. Lynn would be next if Seager can reach.
Mariners hitting .261 as a team with runners in scoring position, 3 for 4 tonight.
Off to a good start. 2 for 6 last night. Chacin taking some time, and now time is called. It brings out Bandy.
Got a young catcher in Bandy, a veteran guy in Chacin on the mound. It kind of makes me think if you're hitting that, he probably doesn't want to give in to the hitter right now. If he's going to throw a fastball, he probably is going to throw it away. If they had a conversation, we'll see who wins the argument.
All the way to 3-2.
Yeah, and he went with the off-speed pitch. So Chacin, that's what he wanted to do. It's one of the biggest differences at this level is you have to have confidence that you can throw that pitch for a strike, probably make it a quality pitch. When you're in the lower levels, more times than not, 3-2, 3-1, 2-0, you can almost guarantee you're going to get a fastball to hit. That's not the case at this level, especially with veteran pitchers out there.
Good chance here with 2 outs, 2 on, and Seager at the plate. We're playing the top of the 5th. Once again, here's the 3-2. This is pushed foul. Had a lot behind it.
Another breaking ball. Kyle's getting a little closer to the timing of it. So 3-2, back-to-back breaking balls. See if he tries to pop a fastball in there now. Change things up. This season with the full count, Kyle, a lot of success. A .379 hitter.
Here we go again, the 3-2, and it's right over the leap of Pennington. Cano rounding third and scoring. Cruz stops at third base. Nice battle by Kyle Seager. An RBI single with 2 outs. All the Mariners runs here tonight coming with 2 outs in the inning. It's 4-1 Mariners, and Kyle Seager has knocked Yolis Chacin out of the game.
This is just really good hitting. Couple of breaking balls. There's your fastball. Down and away. Kyle going with it. We talked about the shift, and that's the reason why they moved the shortstop back over, and Kyle lines it past him. Really good hitting. Clutch hitting by Kyle Seager. And Kyle's done a lot of his damage with 2 outs this year.
Chacin done. Valdez coming in for the Angels. Fifth inning with 2 outs to run in. Yolis Chacin making just his 3rd start this year.
4 2/3, 7 hits, 4 runs. They are all earned. He's responsible for the 2 base runners, a couple of walks, just 2 strikeouts. He threw 88 pitches.
Mariners able to knock him out here in the 5th as Mike Scioscia goes to his bullpen.
Jose Valdez, just 5 appearances on the year. ERA at 9, only 4 innings for him, 4 strikeouts, 6 walks. He can get wild. Opponent's hitting 143. He's given up a home run in the 4 innings that he has worked.
Cruz, who's singled to get aboard, is now at 3rd base. And Seager with the RBI singled at first. So runners on the corners for Adam Lind.
I was talking about Kyle and doing damage with 2 outs this year. Really is true. He has 12 home runs with 2 outs. That's tied with Mike Napoli for 2nd in all of Major Leagues. Longoria has 13. 36 RBIs with 2 outs. That's 2nd in the Major Leagues to Napoli. So almost half of his RBIs coming with 2 outs.
First pitch to Lind.
Kyle, of course, leads the club with that base hit. Now has 78 RBIs on the year.
How does that affect you as a hitter with 2 outs? Does that change anything with what you're trying to do? Or is this just a matter of Seager really coming up when the Mariners are down to their final straw in the inning?
You know, I think it's a great question.
Shout out to Trout. We might pick that question up in the bottom half of the inning. That ends the top of the 5th. The Mariners strand 2, but they get a run on yet another RBI base hit from Kyle Seager. On Root Sports is brought to you by BNSF, sponsor of the BNSF Blast. By the Out to Lunch Concert Series, presented by the Downtown Seattle Association. And by Safeco Insurance. Find a local agent at safeco.com. Gregorio Petit leading off the bottom of the 5th, facing Ariel Miranda. Mike, we were talking about hitting with 2 strikes, or pardon me, with 2 outs.
I think it depends on the hitter, and it's different for everybody.
Right past Lind's glove. Cruz quickly trying to get it, and they hold Petit to a single.
And it's the reason why I'll have to talk to Kyle about it, but just looking at those numbers that we were just talking about, I think for Kyle, he's been around long enough, he's accomplished enough in this game to where I think he has a real understanding of situations and what his value is to the team. You look at the 2 outs, and for him to have 12 home runs with 2 outs, which is 2nd in Major League Baseball, it means it's probably more of them are coming when there's 2 outs and nobody on, and his job is to drive the baseball, take some chances, hit the ball out of the ballpark. But then you look at his RBI total and the 2 out hits that he's been able to pick up. That is understanding that in this situation, the most valuable run is that run that's either at 2nd or 3rd. And that is hitting the ball the other way like we just saw him. And I'm just wondering if that's kind of where his thought process is at. And most guys that are hitting in the middle of the lineup, that's the way they think. And that is something that takes time at this level to get to that line of thinking and understanding how important those runs are, and when you take chances to try to hit the ball out of the ballpark, or when you try to just get that simple base hit because they're pitching you a certain way and you already have a runner in scoring position.
Well, to me, it stands out even more when you consider this era of baseball that we're in right now, as the count goes to 2-1 on Bus. There's a chance, depending on the teams that you're watching on any particular night, that it's a 9-inning strikeout buffet.
Right.
And so many times we see, especially young hitters, with one swing. And that swing does not alter, vary, or change at all, depending on the count, the situation, whatever. So to hear you put it that way, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, or they don't have the ability. I mean, think about that at bat that Kyle just had. He gets to a 3-2 count, battles his way basically to get there. He's 0 for 2 in the game. Then he sees breaking ball that is foul. He fouls him off, basically battling at that point to where he finally gets a fastball, but that fastball and the location of it was perfect. Chastain is in there looking at the video right now, and he's not happy that ball was lined into left field because he threw the pitch right where he wanted to. That's an adjustment that Kyle has made over the years of playing this game.
Full count to Bus.
And I think that's just understanding. And really what it is it's for me, it's great team baseball. He has the ability to hit the ball out of the ballpark, knowing when you're going to take those chances, just like Nelson Cruz does. Robbie, we've seen him do that too. And when you have to bear down and just get that base hit, take what the pitcher's going to give you. Take the base hit because it's going to give you another run.
Right to Cano. Marte to first base. On a double play, wipes away that leadoff single by Petit.
Just a routine ground ball and a pretty good fastball. 93 miles an hour. It's in the middle of the plate, but an easy turn by the guys up the middle. And Miranda is in great shape with his pitch count. He worked there in the pitch, just 63 pitches.
2 outs, nobody on, facing Escobar for the third time. And to put a bow on the Seager situation conversation, how many times do we see Seager, when the shift is on, picking the times to put down the bunt?
Just another way to try to make those guys play you more straight up, which is going to open up more holes.
Picking the right spots. Side sat down in order for now the third time in the first 5 innings by Miranda. All right, Angie, thank you for that update. as we go to the top of the 6th, bottom third of the order due up for the Mariners. It begins with Mike Zunino. Mike, a double and a run scored back in the 2nd.
Mike is 1 for 2. Has his average up to 274 now.
I don't know how much you can read into this, Mike. Every team's a little bit different, but it's got to tell you something that there's no shift on for Zunino.
Yeah, but I think as you look at right now, Petit is shading towards the middle of the diamond, and I think that it's fairly rare to see the shift, even as much as we watch him today for right-handed hitters. You better be really extreme. Yeah, it's just something that you rarely see for right-handed hitters.
Right back and knocked down. Valdez, a little self-defense. Take a look at the Mariners calendar, brought to you by Sleep Train. Cody Martin getting the ball tomorrow in Game 3 of this 4-game series, and it's back home Star Wars weekend at Safeco Field. That's going to be awesome. Hope to see you there. Fireworks after the game on Friday. Post-game movie on Saturday for Star Wars, and then the Taiwan Skywalker bobblehead on Sunday the 21st. And then the Yankees coming to town. Yankees have been a pretty hot team all of a sudden. Then it's back on the road for the Mariners. 6-game series, or trip rather. 3 in Chicago, 3 in Texas. Here's Martin. Tough news out of Arlington as the Rangers have come from behind in extra innings, and they walk off with the win against the A's 5-4 the final in that one. All to 2 strikes to Martin. A walk-off hit by pitch as Rougned Odor wore it for the win.
It was after they intentionally walked Beltre, who hit the grand slam in yesterday's game.
One out, nobody on. Over towards Cole Calhoun. 2 outs. Mariners Care and PACCAR are hosting a book drive at Safeco Field next Tuesday to benefit the Page Ahead Children's Literacy Program. Fans are encouraged to bring new books or make a cash donation at the gates to help children in need succeed in school by developing strong reading skills. Two up, 2 down. Valdez has retired the first 3 men he's faced since taking over for Chacin out of the bullpen. Now looking at Ketel Marte.
One of the key plays in this game in the 2nd inning when the Mariners scored 3. Marte picked up an RBI and drove in the first run of the ball game. 1st and 3rd, 2 outs, and he dropped down a perfect bunt. Zunino ended up scoring on the play.
It was so perfect it was not even playable for the defense, as Chacin could only hope that it would go foul. Two balls and a strike. Well, so far for the Mariners in this game, all 4 runs have come with 2 outs and the base is empty. So let's see what happens here with 2 down, nobody on. 3 runs in the 2nd, 1 run in the 5th. With 2 outs, Marte gets, well, there he goes. It is ball 4. Fred Oberholzer, the former Astro, warming up.
With some good speed on the bases. Back to the top of the lineup. See if Marte tries to steal a base.
Now, Mike, I'm sure you never forgot the count during your playing career, but when that happens, does the umpire kind of whisper through his mask? 12-4?
Eventually they'll tell you, yes. Not before everybody in the ballpark realizes that you had no idea what the count was. He'll eventually tell you.
Let you wear it for a minute?
Yeah.
So once again, the inning is extended with 2 outs. Keeping a close eye on Marte. Again. Nori hoping to see his first pitch. And here it comes. A high chop into right field. Marte's got some speed. He turns, making his way to third base, and he's held there. Okie. Big bouncing ball double. Now the Mariners with 2 outs have 2 runners in scoring position.
And since being recalled, Noria has really played well. He's been on base 3 times tonight, including 2 hits. Here's the double. Mariners really playing well. One of the things they've done well all year, you mentioned it, scoring with 2 outs. 2 out RBIs. They came into the game with 205. That was 5th in all of Major League Baseball. Another opportunity for Seth Smith, who really came up with a big base hit in that 2nd inning with the bases loaded and 2 outs. He had a base hit back up the middle, drove in 2 runs.
A chance here for more run production for Seth Smith. 2 outs, 2 in scoring position.
Mariners are 4 for 6 tonight with runners in scoring position.
A ball and a strike to Smith. And every at bat with a runner in scoring position coming with 2 down. The Mariners 3rd in the majors in home runs. They have not hit one so far here tonight. They've homered in every game of this road trip so far. A check swing, it goes around. And Seth behind 1-2. Marte walked with 2 outs at third base. Aoki the double at second. And Smith behind 1-2. That ends the top of the 6th inning. 2 runners left in scoring position as we go to the bottom of the 6th. The Mariners leading 4-1. Anaheim. Well, Sound Transit's new Link Line rail stations are open on Capitol Hill and at the UW. You can plan your trip at soundtransit.org. Third time through the order now for Miranda.
Well, let's see if he's figured out how to get Calhoun out. A couple of base hits for Calhoun, including a double. Took the ball hard twice off of Miranda.
One and one. This has been something that Calhoun has really excelled at this year, batting over .290 against lefties. A third of his home runs against southpaws. Miranda had 1-2. Calhoun settles back in, ready to go. That's his Miranda. Now, Miranda had thrown just one inning in the last 11 days as Nick Vincent begins to warm up. Miranda getting the start on the last homestand against the Red Sox, pitching in the 15-inning affair against the Tigers.
In that start, he threw 80 pitches. He is now at 70. 70 pitches, 40 strikes.
And the 3-2. Miranda was somewhat unheralded coming out of Cuba. Made his pro debut in Cuba at the young age of 18. Back in 2007. Played many years professionally there. Cuba National Series. Signed as a minor league free agent with the Baltimore Orioles. Spent plenty of time this year with AAA Norfolk before coming over in the Wade Miley deal. Once more, the 3-2. Be at least an 8-pitch plate appearance for Calhoun, who's already doubled and singled. A leadoff walk. Calhoun reaches for the third time. He's got service stocking things over with Tim Bogart.
They have a number of right-handed batters. It's like Nick Vincent out in the pen is getting loose as quickly as possible. Miranda now at 73 pitches.
First pitch to Trout. And he starts him off with strike one. Calhoun with good speed at first base. Nobody out. Zunino out for a quick talk. Mike, we were talking during last night's game about Trout and how unique it is as a right-handed hitter to be such a good low ball hitter. But does that necessarily mean that it's as easy as just work up in the zone?
No, because it's so difficult. Because most pitchers, that when they're throwing their bullpens, when they're working, they're talking about pitching on the edges of the plate and keeping the ball down. So that's the reason why somebody like Iwakuma is so special, because he can pitch at the top of the zone. And the reason why is because he can actually get the baseball at the top of the strike zone. So many times the guys try to throw at the top of the strike zone and they miss badly well out of the zone, or they end up throwing it about belt high. And that's still a danger zone. That's a better pitch right there.
But which wanted to get.
Yeah, but a lot of pitchers aren't comfortable doing it because it's something that they rarely practice.
Handcuffs him with a fastball, 2-2. Tie and run for the Angels on deck. That's Pujols. Miranda's 2-2. Seen inside a full count. Back-to-back full counts to begin this bottom of the 6th inning.
78 pitches. This will probably be his last hitter.
The payoff pitch. And it's consecutive walks. Calhoun and Trout to begin the bottom of the 6th inning. And that brings the tie and run to the plate in the form of Albert Pujols. And it brings out Scott Service. We have a pitching change. And things getting interesting here in Anaheim. We'll take a look at our 76 driving spirit. Miranda, his second start, ends up going 5+. Just under 80 pitches, 4 walks, including the last 2 men that he faced, and 2 strikeouts. We'll step aside for this pitching change. A 4-1 lead as Albert Pujols is due up, and he represents the tie and run. Back-to-back walks by Miranda. He is done for the night. He hands the ball over to Nick Vincent.
This will be his 40th appearance on the year, a 3.15 ERA. In 40 innings, he has 46 strikeouts, only 9 walks. Opponents hitting .213 against Nick. He has a fastball in the low 90s. His cutter right around 89 miles an hour, and a slider.
Well, twice we have seen Pujols come to the plate with runners in scoring position. Twice he's popped up to Cano. Will we see a repeat here in the 6th? Calhoun is at second. Trout is at first.
Well, Nick Vincent would like to see him hit the ball on the ground. Pujols does not run well. Ground ball would be a pretty easy double play to turn.
Vincent's first pitch. And it's in there for a strike. Or so it was called. One and one. Vincent inheriting a jam. 2 runners with speed, nobody out. Facing the tie and run at the plate. And a man with over 500 home runs in his career. 21 of them this year. The 1-1. Gets the knob.
After a couple of cutters away, he comes back with a fastball inside, 2-seamer.
Down on the handle. 1-2. First and second, nobody out. The 1-2. High left center. Martin at the wall. Tie game.
Pujols, his 22nd home run, now 92 RBIs on a fastball, 90 miles an hour in the middle of the plate.
Marte. The Angels' first hit this series with a 2-strike count. They were 0 for 21 with 2 strikes against him until that blast. Now, for those of you playing along with us tonight on Twitter, 401 feet on that home run. Nobody out, 3 runs in. Oh, that home run, a blemish to a bullpen that has been superb. Last 14 innings, 1 run, 1 extra base hit.
Well, I think that when you look at this inning, Aaron, it really goes back to Miranda. Young pitcher, inexperienced, and has a 3-run lead, ends up walking the first 2 batters. Now, Calhoun did foul off a bunch of pitches, but that's what you're going to look at. Sometimes in those situations as you get later, you're better off trusting your stuff in the middle of the plate without walking guys. But it's also the toughest part of the lineup for the Angels to try to get through. Those guys are just going to have to score some more runs.
Three of the 4 runs going on Miranda's line. And along those lines, Mike, 4 walks by Miranda, 3 of the 4 scored.
Well, and that was the thing coming into this one. There's a lot to like about the young man. He has a good fastball, and we saw his split. He was able to execute that a number of times tonight, mixed in his slider, but just doesn't quite have the command of all of his pitches, especially his fastball. It's something I talked to Mel Stottlemyre about. They're trying to work their way through it. And again, You go through it, you don't have any choices. Your rotation right now is banged up. Guys are hurt.
One out, 0-2 to Bandy.
And as you go through these games, you're feeling pretty good about things. Then all of a sudden the score gets tied. Now for Nick, he just needs to get out of this inning and let the offense get back to work.
When we get to the top of the 7th, Cano, Cruz, Seager all due up. Still a ball and 2 strikes. And it evens up 2-2. Here comes Vincent's next pitch. And another foul. Bandy putting up a fight. Next pitch will be number 8. Mariners winning last night in game 1, 3-2 after taking the series in Oakland. Won 2 out of 3 against the A's. Count pushes full. Pennington on deck with 1 out, nobody on. Clock high towards the corner left. And this hits it. A dent in the foul pole, and Bandy's 7th will leave a mark. Angels have taken a 5-4 lead on 2 swings.
A 9-pitch at bat for Bandy. Looked like it was a cutter in the middle of the plate, elevated, probably about belt high. And after hitting a couple of long foul balls, he barely keeps this one fair as it'll hit the screen on the foul pole and give the Angels the lead.
Here's Pennington. Now Vincent, who has been so good against right-handed hitters, had given up 4 home runs to righties all year. He's given up half that many in this appearance.
Just hasn't been able to get away with a couple of mistakes tonight. Typically with his cut fastball, he's living on the outside corner or just off the plate away, and seeing a couple of those fastballs in the middle of the plate.
The 1-1. 3/4 swing. Ball and 2 strikes. Not even with the airs let out of the tires a little bit here in the 6th. The Mariners down at this point by just a run. 2 outs. Pennington cuts through it.
Nuno getting loose in the pen for the Mariners.
Two outs, nobody aboard for Petit. 1 for 2 tonight. A single his last time up. Strike 1. Watch out. He is being awarded first base. Did he swing?
Looked like a swing to me. Take another look at it. Fastball running in on his hands. Maybe even hit the bat first and then possibly his shoulder. Saying he hit his hand. Not sure I saw that.
Well, they can review whether or not that ball hit him, but they cannot review a check swing.
Correct. Take another look. They're looking at his hand. That hit the bat.
Clearly.
Yeah, that hit the bat.
Clear as day when you slow it down.
Not going to give him first base.
So Brian O'Nora, who was originally pointing down to first base, has called that back. The right move here, nothing in 2. And Vincent finishes them off. The 6th comes to a close. 4 runs in. The Angels have taken the lead. The Mariners will be coming from behind here tonight. Top of the 7th, the Mariners now trailing 5-4. A couple of home runs in the bottom of the 6th for the Angels. As former Mariners up on the mound, J.C. Ramirez takes over for the Halos. They'll face Robinson Cano here in the 7th. Some changes up the middle defensively as Cliff Pennington, who began this game at shortstop, has moved to second base, and Andrelton Simmons, who was originally in the lineup, did a scratch. Well, he's back where we normally see him at shortstop. Two balls and a strike to Cano to lead off the top of the 7th.
For Ramirez, a good fastball. He'll be in the upper 90s. 50 appearances on the year. High ERA, over 5. Opponent's hitting 260. He's given up 10 home runs.
Now Pennington, the new second baseman, boots it. Simmons tries to recover, has no play. Cano's aboard to begin the 7th.
Well, that'll be an E4, and Mariners will take it. Good start to the inning for him. Get a base runner on.
Right away, the tie and run at first base. It brings in Cruz. Well, you saw the numbers for Ramirez this year. We saw him in a Mariners uniform last year. Just to 8 appearances. They, by and large, did not go well. An ERA over 7.5. So Cruz representing the go-ahead run. And he takes the first pitch missing. Cruz a walk and a single. And Mike, I know even if his last base hit didn't travel 450 feet, it impressed you nonetheless.
It did. It was a slider that was right on the outside corner at the knees, and he lined it into right field. And I think right here in a 2-0 count, he's trying to catch up to that 96-mile-an-hour fastball and do some damage. Ramirez has given up 10 home runs.
Moves him back a step.
Almost hit him with a fastball. He definitely has the green light if he wants to swing away.
The 3-0. Taking ball 4. Boy, some borderline pitches in that at bat. Cruz laying off. And the Mariners have the first 2 reach.
And now we'll bring up Kyle Seager. Kyle with a base hit his last time up and drove in a run. Leads the club in RBIs with 78.
And it is notable for the Angels. If you look at that recent 9-game road trip where they went 0 for 9, time and time again, and we saw it at Safeco Field, the Angels either began with the lead or at some point got the lead late in the game and coughed it right back up.
Yeah, their bullpen has really struggled this year, so hopefully the Mariners can take advantage of that.
Tie and run at second. Cano go ahead at first. And strike 1 to Seager. Well, outside, this moves both up. Cano to third, Cruz to second.
Well, the Angels right now doing everything they possibly can to help out the Mariners. It's a wild pitch, 97 miles an hour, well off the plate. So an error, a walk, and now a wild pitch.
That would explain Mike Scioscia's face.
You have to take advantage of it. The infield playing back, except for Escobar at third.
Wow. And this gets away from Bandy. Cano scores standing, and this game is tied without having to really swing the bat at all.
No, it's a gift, and you'll take it. That will tie up the ball game. This time he's just going to spike this last pitch. And that was a fastball at 98. He barely cleared the grass with it.
The Mariners have put 1 ball in play here in the 7th.
And now that the game is tied up, looks like the Angels infield will play in.
Two and two. When things are not going your way and you've lost 11 in a row, these types of things seem to happen. Now the Mariners trying to capitalize, bring in Cruz. The go-ahead run at third base. A club to center. Trout continuing to drift. Plenty deep. Nelson Cruz can stroll home. Kyle Seager second RBI. And the Mariners have taken the lead right back here in the 7th. It has been gift wrapped by the Angels.
Kyle just missed hitting that ball out of the ballpark. A little bit too high, too much air, but he pushes Trout all the way back to the warning track. And for Kyle, 2 RBIs in the game. He now has a team leading 79. As you take a look at this pitch, it's a fastball right in the middle of the plate.
It's been a long season for Mike Scioscia. Lind looks at a strike.
And the Angels will have the shift on with Adam hitting. Lind 0 for 3 in the game.
This is hit on the screws out towards Trout. Able to keep his feet. On the road traveling and want to watch your Mariners? So just subscribe to MLB.com, MLB.TV Premium for live or on-demand baseball on over 400 devices, real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking, and a whole lot more. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit Mariners.com for details. An error, a walk, a sacrifice fly. Lind a fly ball out to center. Nobody on, 2 outs for Zunino. And the Mariners right back on top. How quickly momentum can turn.
Vidal Nuno continues to throw in the pen for the Mariners. In the bottom of the 7th inning, 2 of the 3 hitters that are due up are left-handed, so Nuno getting ready for them.
See Buss and Calhoun. The 1-1. Soft chopper back to Ramirez, and with a bare hand he spikes it, and Zunino making the turn into second. Now this has been a disaster for Ramirez in the 7th. He's looking for the trap door.
It'll be an E1. Barehanded play, had some time, did not take a step, and just spikes a fastball. So another break for the Mariners.
The second error in this inning. It began with Pennington at second base.
Well, there is nobody getting loose in their bullpen.
Two outs, Zunino at second, and the pitch to Martin. And this gets away from Bandy, but he's able to track it down. Vincent, who gave up the 4 runs although not charged for all of them. 2 going to the line of Miranda in the bottom of the 6th. Able to see the offense come back and help him out a little bit here in the 7th. Get the lead right back. 2 runs in here for the Mariners without a hit. Now 1-2 to Martin, looking for his second hit. Singled and scored back in the 2nd inning. Missing at 99 miles an hour to make it 2-2.
He doesn't appear to be pitching at all. He's just reaching back and throwing it as hard as he can.
Martin has a chance to extend the lead with 2 outs. And this is a diving stab by Simmons. Fresh off the bench. A fine play in the top of the 7th. The Mariners, though, 2 runs without a hit in the top of the 7th. They've got the lead right back. Because you need to be ready if you win Washington's lottery. Play today. We continue our scenic tour down the streets of Los Angeles. What a remarkable top of the 7th for the Mariners, and what an utterly depressing top of the 7th for the Angels.
I was trying to think of the last time I saw something like that. The Mariners scored 2 runs without a hit. You have a couple of errors, walk, a couple of wild pitches.
It was on the playground. That's what that looked like.
Take it. Nuno is going to take over for the Mariners. 40 appearances on the year, 2.86 ERAs, pitched well, 42 strikeouts over 8 walks. His fastball will be right around 90 miles an hour. Slider curve change.
Busso for 2 bounce to a double play back in the 5th. Nuno firing strikes, 0-2.
Caminero getting loose in the pen for the Mariners.
There's Archimedes.
He is getting ready for Trout if he hits in this inning. He's due up 4th.
Last night, a rare night off for Caminero. We have Seen him more times than not, it seems like, since coming over from the Pirates. One and two. Now towards Aoki. So chase him back near the warning track. One down. We'll take a look at our Big Fish Casino big catch. Going to go back to the top of the 7th inning. Kyle Seager at the plate, Mike, and he knew exactly what he needed to do to get a run in.
They had to get the ball out of the infield, and that's exactly what happens with nobody out and a runner at third. Fly ball out to Mike Trout in center. And for Kyle, he picks up an RBI to give the Mariners the lead for Kyle, his 79th RBI on the year.
Starts Escobar off with the first pitch strike. And Nuno behind 2-1. To right center. Cruz gallops over, makes the catch, 2 outs. And now the second lefty hitter for Nuno to face Cole Calhoun. Calhoun has reached all 3 times. He has doubled, singled, and walked. Also scored a run.
Oberholzer getting loose in the Angels' pen again. It's the 3rd time he's been up in this game.
You remember him from a number of years ago with the Astros?
You bet.
A really good changeup back in the day. Now Nuno has gotten strike 1 to each of the 3 hitters he's faced since taking over here in the 7th.
11 pitches, 8 strikes for him.
Nuno, one of the quickest working relievers in the league. Waits for Calhoun. A weak wave, 0-2. Nuno does not stray far from the slab as Calhoun will ponder this 0-2. And here it comes. Strike 3 called. Calhoun makes it out for the first time tonight. And Nuno out of the bullpen. A very efficient 1-2-3. Bottom of the 7th. Seattle Mariners baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Money Tree. Proud to make a donation to Mariners Care for every Mariners win. By Jack in the Box. Taste the all-new Jack's Brewhouse Bacon Burger today at Jack in the Box. Limited time only at participating restaurants. And by CenturyLink, your link to what's next. Well, the Mariners take a one-run lead to the top of the 8th inning. They will face yet another reliever for the Angels. Brett Oberholzer will take things over for manager Mike Scioscia.
Pretty good changeup for him. Used to be a starting pitcher, but now working out of the bullpen. 27 appearances, high ERA, well over 5. 52 innings, just 41 strikeouts. Opponents hitting .299. He's given up 13 home runs. 9-1-2 for the Mariners. Marte going to lead things off. Marte 1 for 2, has a base hit, an RBI. He's also walked in the game.
Oberholzer, part of the Kent Giles trade between the Astros and the Phillies, and then put on waivers by Philadelphia, claimed by the Angels. Strike 3 called. Make Safeco Field your man cave for Guys Night Out on Saturday, September 3rd. Get a ticket and first drink for $35 through this ticket special thanks to EQC. You can visit mariners.com/guys for tickets and details.
Aaron, I remember Oberholzer pitching for the Astros. It seemed that they had high hopes for him at one point.
No, I agree. He had a game, his best game of his career, a complete game shutout against the Mariners. That was back in 2013. This will help time stamp it for you. Henry Blanco was the Mariners starting catcher that day.
There you go.
But he was fantastic. The changeup for Oberholzer has always really stood out.
He's never been an overpowering guy. As you see, Caminero continues to get loose. He will pitch the bottom of the 8th inning.
The 0-2. A chop, tight and fair. What a road trip this is for Aoki. He's reached base now for the 4th time, his 3rd hit.
Take a look at, and this is off the left-hander, something that Scott Servais talked about. He's doing a better job with his at-bats against the lefties. One of the reasons why he was sent to AAA. Gutierrez is going to pinch hit for Seth Smith.
One out, one on for Goody. Mike, you mentioned Aoki's time down with Tacoma, and that kind of leads to something that Scott Servais was saying today that's worth expanding on. He was referencing Paxton, Zunino, Aoki, and now Taiwan, but the previous 3 who had gone down to the Rainiers have now come back up and have been very good contributors for the Mariners. And one of the things that Scott said is that when those 3 went down there, and while Taiwan is down there now, that they weren't treated like quote-unquote big leaguers. They were treated like guys who were on the AAA roster, and this sense of, hey, this is where you come down and you get your work in so you can get right and get back up.
No, that's exactly right. That's why they're there. There is something in their game that Scott Servais, Jerry DiPoto, the coaching staff identified that they need to work on and do a better job of so that they can get back up here. And it's been successful so far, and hopefully that'll be the same way with Taijuan Walker. When you look at Zunino, they had a game plan for him, and he went down there. Scott Brocious, longtime major leaguer, was working with him at the AAA level. The same thing for Aoki when he went down there. So Scott's doing a lot of things right.
One out, Aoki at first base. Top of the 8th inning, Mariners by a run. Paxton unfortunately put on the disabled list today. And each one of their circumstances is a little bit different. Although Zunino had plenty of time in the major leagues, was coming off a very difficult year, as we all know. Paxton had shown signs of complete domination in certain starts going back down. And for Okie, an established veteran, a guy who came over in the free agent market and who has been in the World Series and was sent down. So each kind of had a different story. There goes Okie. The tag, not in time.
Takes off on the first move, so it's a pretty good jump for him. Almost slipped past the bag, was able to keep his hand on the base. And Mike Scioscia maybe wants him to take a look at it. Here it goes. I think he's going to be called out. His foot popped off the base, and I think the tag was on him before he was able to get his hand back down.
That split second.
Yeah, he wants him to take a look at it. He clearly beat the throw. It's one of the hardest things to do. I think it's so difficult for these guys to be able to slide into a base. They're obviously, if you're a base stealer, you're moving at a pretty good rate of speed. These fields are so nice, and it's so difficult to hit the bag as hard as he did, which is what you're taught, to slide late, to get in there and not pop off even for a millisecond. And that's why the infielders are all taught to keep that tag on him. You'll see his foot pop up in the air. There's the tag, and then his hand will come down. That's a difficult thing to do as a base stealer.
And he's ruled out. 9th time Norrie's been caught this year with 6 steals. Well, needless to say, the fields weren't as nice in the 40s, but it was a lot easier to steal bases when you don't have super slow-mo back then.
Well, exactly. He would have been called safe, and that would have been the end of it.
And we move on.
Yeah.
2 outs and the base is now empty. The 2-2 to Gutierrez. Simmons getting there pretty smoothly. That ends the inning. We go to the bottom of the 8th. Archimedes Caminero coming on to protect a 1-run lead. California should include a series against the Angels. The Mariners are in town. Archimedes Caminero takes over for Vidal Nuno, who's very effective.
Hard throwing right-hander. 44 appearances on the year. ERA just over 3. 47 innings, 37 strikeouts. See what he's done with the Mariners in 5 games. Has not given up an earned run.
Starts Trout out with ball 1. Caminero, the bridge to Diaz, or part of the bridge.
Fastball in the upper 90s. Also has a cutter and a split.
The 1-1.
Missing with 99 miles an hour.
Gets a strike at 98.
Right on the corner.
Here comes the 2-2. Count on and missed. He blows it past him. And he KOs Trout to begin this bottom of the 8th. That's a huge out number 1.
Mike Zunino wanted this fastball up out of the strike zone. Wasn't able to get it at the top part of the zone, but just off the outside corner as Trout swings through it.
Now facing Pujols, the man who tied it up in the 6th with a 3-run homer. Weak pop-up out towards Cano, covering some ground in shallow right. And they're going to say the catch was made.
He was on the exchange. He was taking the ball out of his glove.
So she might have a beef. Or not.
Here's another look at it. Yeah, he clearly had it.
Caminero has retired Trout, and Pujols now facing Jeffrey Marte as time is called. Missing with 100, ball 1. Marte 0 for 3. He's grounded out twice, also flown out to Martin at center. Down towards the pole in left field, and this is gone. A home run, and we are right back where we started, all tied up.
First earned run for Caminero since joining the Mariners. It's not a bad pitch. 97 miles an hour on the outside corner.
Now 5 of the 6 runs for the Angels tonight on 3 homers. Dunked into left. Bandy the go-ahead run at first base. Now Mel Stottlemyre Jr. Angels were second to last in the league in home runs entering this series. They've got 3 tonight.
Well, the last couple of hits have been on pretty good pitches. That last pitch looked like a split that was down out of the strike zone at 93 miles an hour. And gave up a base hit on it. Saw the fastball at 97 on the outside corner.
And steps Cliff Pennington. Strike one. Now this Mariners bullpen had allowed just 1 extra base hit the last 14 innings. It's given up 3 homers here tonight. Even if on a tough pitch. One and two. Activity inside the bullpen now. Fernando Salas. Well, this Mariners bullpen has been the foundation of this team, especially this month. It has been just rock solid. An ERA of 1.25 entry tonight. On a line, right field. Bandy making the turn, going into third. Cruz off the wall. Bandy's being waved in. Cano's throw to the plate. Not in time. 7-6 Angels.
This is a high fastball right at the top of the strike zone, and he tomahawks it down into the corner, able to get the barrel to it. But he gets stuck under the padding for a second. Nelson able to get it to Cano. They were playing Pennington over in right center field. That ball more down the line.
First at bat for Simmons. The 0-1. Two runs in for the Angels here in the bottom of the 8th, both with 2 outs. Seager, a fair ball and a long throw, and it's in time to end the inning. We'll keep things a little more manageable. We go to the top of the 9th. The Mariners suddenly down to their final 3 outs. Fernando Salas, who's come on here to get the save. Remember, Houston Street on the disabled list for the Angels.
ERA at almost 4.5, 15 1/3, 39 strikeouts, 18 walks. Opponents hitting .246. He has given up 8 home runs this year.
Far from a cakewalk for Salas facing Cano, Cruz, and Seager.
Fastball in the low 90s. He'll mix in a slider and a curveball, an occasional changeup.
Cano looking for his first hit. What a bizarre game tonight.
It has been. I was listening to when you were talking about how good the bullpen has been, but nobody's going to be perfect.
Right.
So.
The 2-0. It has been the bullpen, and large reason, very large reason, why the Mariners are 11-3 this month.
It's just a bizarre game. You look at the Angels, and they basically were able to fight their way back after a couple of walks from Miranda. Ramirez comes in for the Angels, basically gives the Mariners a couple of runs.
A looper, drop in, a base hit.
And a good start for the Mariners.
Tying run aboard.
This is a fastball trying to go to the inside corner. Pretty good pitch. Robbie just fighting it off, flares it into the outfield. All the outfielders were playing deep, trying to stay away from the double with a 1-run lead for the Angels. Nelson Cruz has been on base 3 times today. A couple of walks and a base hit. Hit a slider, a line drive into right.
With nobody out, Cruz represents the go-ahead run here in the 9th. In last night's game, Cruz a 425-foot homer. That was number 30 on the season. The 1-0.
And it looks like Drew Storen starting to get loose just in case.
Cruz quickly on the ground. Pennington to Simmons, who takes his time to complete the double play. Mariners down to their final out.
Kyle Seager walking to the plate as we take a look at Nelson Cruz. He hits it hard, but unfortunately it is right at Pennington. Didn't have to move. Almost handcuffed him. Kyle's had a good night tonight, has a couple of RBIs, leads the club with 79. About number 80 right here.
And we were talking earlier about his 2-out run production. Chance to add to that here in the 9th inning. Last hope for the Mariners. Looks at strike 1.
See what he's done in his career against Salas, 1 for 7, but that one hit, a home run.
The opposite way, slicing foul, 0-2 now. Seager and the Mariners down to the final strike. The 0-2 stays alive.
Borderline pitch. Salas aware that Kyle's power is to right field, so all 3 pitches fastballs away from him.
Once more, the 0-2. The Rangers have won earlier tonight. They won an extras against the A's. Mariners trailing Texas by 5.5. Needing a win to keep pace. Still 1-2. Now, if Seager can reach base with 2 outs here in the 9th inning, Lind would hit next. Hoping for a chance. Once more, the 1-2. Bus ends the game.
Well, disappointing loss for the Mariners, off to an early lead in this one. Had the game at 4-1. Unfortunately, Miranda, a tough lesson, up 4-1, and he comes out in the 6th inning, walks the first 2 batters. Albert Pujols, 89 RBIs coming into the game, 4th in Major Leagues, hits a home run, a 3-run home run. And then it was just a strange game after that. The bullpen was not able to settle things down tonight. A rare night for them here in the month of August.
Very rare, no doubt about that. Angels win. This series is even at 1 game apiece. Mariners postgame presented by Delta Airlines. Coming up right now with Angie and Bill.